So we are opening it up. We've got Marco here, who he didn't stress this enough. He is the chairperson of QGIS.org. Like, this is the head honcho of the QGIS project. If you have any questions about how QGIS is run behind the scenes, like on an organizational level, on an admin level, on a financial level, on a political level, if you have questions about how QGIS relates to the global political situation and how they make those choices, he's the guy to ask. Technical questions I'll field in that session as well.
Yeah, you just ask questions, we figure out, we push them to each other. But we need to wait 5 minutes for that. Any question on features that we just show?
This whole session is recorded, so I guess the slides come with the recording.
It's not. But yeah, we will put them wherever we put slides to share. Will there be a release with name Oakland? Saturday, there is a QGIS day, no? Something like that is happening, I think? Sunday? If that happens, then there will be a release. We can make it count maybe as a Hackfest. And usually the release names are based on where the QGIS conference and QGIS Hackfest are. But last year at Belém, we did a QGIS Day Latin America, and there's going to be a Belém river, so I don't see why not. What hotkeys? No.
Shouldn't they work already? If that's the case, it's not by design, it's a bug, and let us know and we'll fix it because it should work. Yeah.
Come in. We are in break mode, so should we put some?
I think we're not officially.
Sorry? Yeah. Hello. Will I be able to interact with SQL Server the same as I do with Postgres already, like in the data manager? Can I upload like spatial layers into a SQL Server?
So yes, you can. You can right now, but in 4.0 it will be better. So 3.44 is quite good, 4.0 will be even better. Basically, when the browser, QGIS browser, gets database functionality, it's done always in a generic way to say it's not back-end specific, like Postgres specific, but it is up to somebody to go in there and say, hey, this is how that SQL needs to look in SQL Server, to rename a table or to create a table. That hadn't been done for a lot of the functionality for SQL Server, but it has been for 4.0. So it should basically be as first class as SQL Server spatial possibly ever can be.
Great presentation, thanks guys. Just wondering in terms of the website infrastructure, not relating to features, but I've noticed that the downloads of QGIS and also even getting to the download page over the last few months has been really slow or not functioning. I was wondering if you guys have got any comments on that?
Yes. We've been trying to get away from Cloudflare, which was injecting a lot of things that we didn't want to be injected on downloads, and that's a bit the drawback of it. So we are aware of that. We are trying to see what to do with it, and I guess because where do you live? You're around here, or yeah. The servers are in Germany, so you're getting a lot of latency, and we are aware of it. But what the reason behind it is that we were heavily relying on Cloudflare, and they were injecting a lot of things that we didn't want to have on an open source project. So, as a reason. So, one more question over there, and then we explain the Ask Me Anything.
Hello. Yeah. Hi there. Marco, now this is Nick. Thank you for the ongoing commitment to making these continuous improvements. We went to a couple of the workshops the last couple of days on the plugin development for QGIS and QField, and one point that came up was maybe to wait for the next version, version 4, before trying to do more work on our plugin development into the future, just to help with compatibility, longer terms, like sustainability. Do you have anything can you comment on that? Should we wait for a little while to do that?
Look, I would say it depends very much on your situation. So if you are developing a plugin for a certain user group and you know that they are going to be jumping on 4.0 straight away, then by all means, target 4.0 straight away. For any plugin that I'm personally maintaining, I'm going to keep QGIS free compatibility for at least, I don't know, 3-4 years from now, I think, and just make sure the plugin works in either. I think we'll realistically have users on 3.0 for quite a number of years, just because it is that, it's hit that level of stability, that level of trust, and we'll see a very long tail dropping off. I mean, I think there is still some people, if you look at the usage stats on QGIS 2.18 because of plugins and...
You need to consider that we released the last 3.0, 3 long-term couple of weeks ago, or 1 month and a half or something like that, 344. Big organizations usually take the LTR and then we support it for 1 year, but they'll run it for 3 years or so. So I think 3 years is a very sensible thing to do still to maintain 3.0. 3 compatibility, yes.
Yeah, so just to summarize, if you're writing a plugin for the general QGIS audience, you don't really, you're expecting it to be widespread use, I would definitely make sure you target 3.40, 3.44 and add the 4.0 compatibility on top. But if you're doing it for just your small subset of users, then just use whatever version that they're using.
So, we are officially in the next slide. How does that work?
I think we jumped the gun there.
I'm Marco, that's Nyall, for the ones that came in new. Ask Me Anything is basically us relying on you to fill this, 25 minutes. We're here to answer any question you have, or try to at least. We have 2 or 3 runners with microphones. Just raise your hand, they will come to you, and we will try our best to give you educated answers or tell you that we don't know the answer and there is no problem.
Try and make him squirm with really difficult financial, political questions about QGIS.
No.
Things about country flags.
Sorry?
Things about country flags or territorial borders in the world map.
No, I'm not going to do that. I was tempting, but my question is, what features do you want to remove from QGIS? Or what have you removed and what would you really like to remove? Just channeling Vlad Agafonkin, he was asked one time and I thought it was like inspirational. Someone said, what features do you want to add? And he's like, no, that's the wrong approach. I'm thinking about what I can get out.
Well, we were known to be the drunken geese because we had 3 ways to do the same thing everywhere, and I think we've done a very good job in reducing that in the last years. I don't know if there's DB Manager.
Yeah, I would say DB Manager is probably the number one, where it's previously was a plugin kind of siloed away outside of the main QGIS infrastructure, but it came bundled in QGIS and it was like an out-of-the-box thing. Again, we've been doing this sort of multi-year staged transition of all the functionality from that into the main QGIS browser, so it's all 100% integrated, works across all the different database providers, all this kind of stuff. It's a big, slow transition. You would have seen kind of things slowly leak out from the DB Manager into the browser. We're now kind of at a stage where people are looking at that and being like, okay, of the remaining, whatever, X percentage of features still in that DB Manager plugin, do we need to retain those, or are they kind of so niche functionality that we could safely just drop that plugin now and move on, or just demote that plugin to a community status and say it's no longer officially part of QGIS, you have to go to the plugin manager, download it, and it's supported by the community, and it's up to the community, that vague amorphous blob of the community to maintain and bug fix and such. That's probably the number one, I would say. There's a few other plugins as well that you get when you install QGIS and you go to the plugin manager, and some of them are disabled by default, but they're still shipped by default. Again, they're things that are on the chopping block because they need to be properly integrated into QGIS and reassessed to see like, okay, what's a better way we can do this instead of having it siloed away in a kind of separate interface. So that stuff as well is definitely, you know, on that precarious edge.
Yep.
I've had a lot of success using QGIS Server to deploy, tiles and map like WMS, WFS services, and I'm just wondering how committed. Obviously, QGIS is like a desktop product, and how committed people are to continuing to develop QGIS Server, and if there will be support, say for vector tiles integrated into that.
Do you want to field that?
Yeah, you can answer the vector tiles. I don't know.
Okay, I'll answer the vector tile part. The short answer is I'm not aware of any plans for that. It's probably something that if you really want to see happen, providing funding would be the way to do that. And that either means twisting the arm of your organization to say, hey, we want this, we need this is how much it's going to cost, let's get it happening. Or alternatively, becoming a kind of project manager / spearhead of that project and going out there, hitting up your LinkedIn social channels, the QGIS mailing list and saying, I want this to happen, I'm going to kind of push it ahead, but is there anybody who would be interested in co-funding it and kind of pulling that funds together? And you become the person who's pushing that, trying to pull all those organizations together, chatting to the user groups and that to say, this should happen, who else is interested in funding, and kind of doing the legwork, and then you hand that off to one of the developing kind of contributor organizations or one of the QGIS developers to actually implement, and then you'll get that in there. That's a effective way to get a change in QGIS if you don't have any development skills yourself or you can't directly finance it from your own organization. As far as QGIS server longevity,
yeah, I think maybe just to piggyback on what you said, it's really important to realize that it's really easy to help QGIS. It doesn't have to be coding, it doesn't have to be paying. There is a lot of ambassadoring on important things and getting people together. That's something that can be very easily done by many persons there. Now on the activity on the QGIS server, I might take a little bit on a Swiss hat because I see a lot of activity in Switzerland with QGIS server. So if you were to ask me this question back home, I'd be like, yeah, man, there's a lot happening. So many people that are using it in the official administration. So I think that it's gonna keep on growing, yeah, for sure.
So I try to, Marco, ciao.
I was like, I know that voice, where is he?
So QGIS is probably the most important OSGeo project, or the most used with the GeoServe or something, I think. Sometime I would like to see more relationship between QGIS and OSGeo. One activity that I really would like to see is the Google Summer of Code, because this is really important for young people to be involved in the community and to also grow up new developer for QGIS. Mm-hmm. And you have plenty of good developer. So if you try in the future to be just one project, two projects, and to be part of this Google Summer of Code for OSGeo, it could be really a good point from my point of view, and I think OSGeo will be really happy to.
Yeah, I mean, I can only vouch for that. You know, that QField was born out of a Summer of Code. So we try, actually last year we had students that wanted to, and we had mentors that wanted to, but nothing happened on the Google side. I don't know something went wrong there. We were discussing the other night that we have a very small, really active contributor team of developers. We need to enlarge that, and that's definitely something that we're looking at as well. Yeah, fun. Interestingly enough, the student that wanted to do the Summer of Code eventually got hired by us, and you saw plenty of things before. So still the reach out worked, but yeah, something went wrong in the last year, 2-3 years ago.
My understanding was there was a misunderstanding by the student, and they thought that by just saying I'm interested, that would mean it would happen, and instead it was supposed to be up to the student to actually do the legwork and organise that themselves. So I think that's where it fell apart. I would say on that note as well, like you mentioned before, that QGIS has a big pool of developers. We do, but we also, like realistically, those developers are extremely time poor. And so as a project, we have issues with a massive list of pull requests, and we don't have the manpower or the pool of people who can review those pull requests that have enough time to actually sit there and spend the time in massaging them into shape. So we get quite a lot of pull requests from people who are brand new to the community, and we'd love to make it an awesome onboarding experience for them and be like, hey, welcome aboard, let's skill you, let's get you into the project. But then on the other hand, you have their submissions, and you might look at it and be like, that's going to take 10 hours of my time maybe to kind of talk them through doing it properly, kind of reworking what they've got there, talking them through the various sort of policies and CI things and that they need to set up to actually get it to pass everything, and the architectural decisions and the user interface decisions and that. And you kind of look at that and you'd be like, oh my goodness, that's 10 hours of my time for something that if I really wanted, maybe I could do in 5 minutes. And it's a really tricky balancing act that is hard to handle when everybody is extremely time poor and they've got clients on the line actually wanting paid work and such. So it's an issue that we struggle with as a project, and we don't have a great solution yet.
And maybe here as well, if you notice in the last years, QGIS is kind of a miracle project, sort of. We have metrics on how many people are using QGIS, or at least how many people allow us to know that they're using QGIS. And we're talking about 20 million opening of QGIS per month. And this is not Nyall opening 1,500 times per day QGIS. This is one time. So, and the whole project runs on a budget of 450,000 euros per year, including all the bug fixing rounds that we're doing, the grant programs, the infrastructure, the website work, everything that we do. It's a microscopic budget. And what we've been trying with this microscopic budget is to increase it, of course, first thing. So if you can, and that's another way that you can help, is get people to become sustaining member, or become yourself your company's sustaining member, but get other people, motivate them to become sustaining member. That's a really good way to help QGIS. Because with that, we have started hiring people to take care of documentation. We now have 2 full-time documentation writers. We have a person that is full-time taking care of our infrastructure. That's why the website improved so much. There's still a huge amount of volunteer work. Myself, Tim, we're all volunteers. Nyall, I don't know how much of your time you're working and you're volunteering, but we're doing a huge amount of work there as well. So if you can go out, push the message that sustaining membership is a good thing, we can try to hire more and more people so that the pull request queue reduces.
Just a quick comment that part of the surplus from this conference will go to OSGeo Oceania. OSGeo Oceania put $4,000 or $5,000 into QGIS last year. So by coming here, by sponsoring especially, some of the money goes through to these guys. So.
Yeah.
I just wanted also to give a follow-up to what Luca was saying in terms of for example, Google. I always forget it. Summer code. There's also other opportunities such as Outreachy.
I applied to Outreachy 4 months ago. So.
And have you gotten an answer already?
Yes. I need to have there is a screening call that I need to have with them.
Yay.
Yay. But Outreaching is a really bad position currently financially, so you kind of have to finance yourself, the person that is coming in. So.
Oh, that's sad. But also I was thinking about what you were saying in terms of, for example, the newcomers and stuff and how much time we spend supporting them into understanding how the community works and stuff. There are other communities as well, like the Chaos community, which is community health analytics for open source software, that they already have metrics and stuff put in place to support the newcomers into any kind of open source community that would need that kind of support. So I think it could be interesting to also look at them and everything that they're doing.
I mean, it really is one that's kind of quite close to my heart, because I know when I got started in QGIS development 15, 18 years ago, I can't remember, there was a guy, Nathan Woodrow, a fellow Australian, who spent ages, he spent hours and hours kind of mentoring me through that. And if I hadn't have had that mentor relationship, I never would have stayed with the project. I would have found, UDIG or GVSIG or something. But not being in a position now, because again, everybody is just have so many demands and so time poor, to return that to the community is quite frustrating for me.
Yeah. Just ask. We'll figure out where you are eventually.
Thank you. Fully appreciate that you've got limited funds and there's a lot of people that are time poor. I was just wondering, just on the back of the improvements that have happened in the Mac environment side and the notarization and the new build system, is there now going to be further commitment or ongoing commitment to try and improve the Mac builds? Because in the past, certainly noticed things such as, it hasn't got feature parity with all the things switched on in Windows. Sometimes the 3D stuff is not very performant, and there's just a whole raft of things that don't work as well as in the Windows or even in the Linux side of things.
I think it's been a bit of a chicken and egg situation, because the Mac build system and the tooling and around that has been so horrible that it has discouraged people who are Mac native from contributing back. And as a result, we kind of get this thing of it ends up being the odd one out in terms of the maintenance and that. But definitely it's, the new process, you probably want to talk a bit about it. Go for it.
Yes, as I mentioned, we did a one-shot 344 build, notarized, just because we didn't want Mac users to have to wait until February for the automated system that we built it will just notarize every release that we have. It's automatically notarized now. It's a lot of work that was involved there, but it's based on everything that we've done for QField earlier. So QField is built for 5 platforms automatically every night, and QGIS now can profit of the same thing. So you're in a good place now.
It was also all ad hoc in the past, so a lot of these custom scripts to do the build, and they kept breaking and things. And now it is a standard kind of VC package-based build that is used also for the Windows Qt6 builds and such. And it means we don't even have to spend that much time maintaining the Mac build separately, because it's sort of the same maintenance is for everything.
Yeah, just curious, do you get any backing from government organisations or big IT companies, or is that sort of against the open rules?
Okay, so big governments. So we have governments backing through ways that, so procurement is always in the way. Let's put things clear. And for governments, it's at times really difficult to go that way, because they are allowed to buy a license, but they are not allowed to support or sponsor something. For big companies, it would be much easier. But we haven't gotten to the really, we've got a bit, but here and there. But mainly, currently, we are backed by, I would say, small to big to large companies, not the huge ones. That's the goal for the, I don't know if you have been using QGIS for a long time, but the website was until a year and a half ago really old, really an open source geeky project. We worked a lot on that, on the language, because with that now we have something where we can go to bigger donors and say, like, look, this is QGIS, this is serious stuff. And it's a language you understand. It's not layers and connection details. It speaks a really different language, our websites now. And that was done on purpose to be able to go in that direction to get bigger funding. Governments is probably really the procurement that is really difficult. If we were able to just sell licenses, it would be so much easier for procurement. But yeah, we changed from a sponsoring to a supporting membership because of academia, because university were not allowed to be sponsoring, but they're allowed to be members of organizations. And that has turned into something really good already, because we're getting many university joining and supporting there. Yeah.
I'd just like to add as well, like for government organizations, if you look at the changelog, like the release notes, you'll often see such and such and such sponsored by, like this new feature sponsored by some government agency. So there is definitely investment into QGIS on a needs basis from government of like, I want this feature, I want this bug fix, I'll pay for it. It's not quite the same as just that general maintenance funding sponsorship, but at least there is some level of buy-in from those organisations.
All right, I've got a tech support question, so please feel free to say, no, Alex, I've raised an issue or something. I discovered a plugin doesn't work on the Mac because the Mac plugins are using System Python, which is ancient 3.9 or something. Is that like a known thing? Can we use different Python? Can you package better Python with it or something?
In the new Magic packaging, it's the wonderful future of QGIS Mac is
already fixed.
Is glorious, fixed, yeah.
Golden.
And also, since there are no questions I see in the room currently, or there is up there. Did you send the certificate to Matthias? Then it's going to be signed. It's actually, I mentioned before in the previous presentation. Yes, it's 344 is notarized already, and 4.0 is in the build. Like as soon as we start releasing, 4.0 is going to be notarized as well. Yeah. Thanks for sending the certificate then. I was going to say also on the Mac side, like we have metrics, and 96% of the users are on Windows. So yeah, unless the Mac and Linux people are just not allowing the feed to go through. Yeah, but I mean, it's a huge population that is using Windows. So we have tried to strategically really push Mac as well, because there is no other GIS for Mac. And if you're a Mac user and you know the Mac community, we have kind of a bit of issue engaging with the Mac user community. I don't know if it's because it's different and it should just work if it's on Mac, but we're not getting, like there were crowdfundings that never succeeded because the Windows user don't care, obviously, and the Mac community somehow we could not engage with them. So that's also something that we noticed.
Just quick question. You talked about metrics a couple of times now. What kind of metrics do you gather and where do you share them?
If you go to analytics.qgis.org, let's see if we can do that.
So there's nothing collecting analytics inside QGIS itself. The analytics we collect is from, you go into QGIS and you get the news feed, and so that the server that's issuing up those newsfeed items has a log basically of the IP addresses that hit that, and that's where the analytics get built from. So nothing personal gets sent back, nothing kind of, there's no telemetry or anything inside QGIS itself.
And it's all public what we're getting?
Yeah, I was also going to ask if you have like any kind of demographics or data on the community, on your community, like the QGIS community. No?
No, we have, what we have here, like, I mean, yes, demographic. Are you a Windows user or are you a Mac user? We have that. Are you a 3.44 user or a 2.18 user? I don't know if that's the kind of demographic you're thinking about, considering the keynote you just gave. Probably not. But this is what we have. Bit on where. I think it didn't load the CSS, looks like to me, but it didn't fully load the page.
This site is public, so you can get to this. Anybody can get to this. You can get to it, and it's a it's a fantastic resource if you get those questions of like, oh, this is just an open source thing. You
I'm
know,
going to
it's
comment on that.
not trustworthy, only some hobby project. You can go to this site to your boss and be like, hang on a sec, we are talking about 21 million number of QGIS opens in the last 30 days. Unique users opening QGIS in the last 30 days.
It's colored by population. But the most important figure we have here is really the one that you're seeing now that shows that QGIS is a highly professional used software because nobody uses it in the weekend.
There's actually good...
It is weekend. That's a week cycle that you're seeing there. It goes from something like 900,000 openings to 100,000 openings.
Yeah, on the Mac front again, you can see those stats there. There's also a version there, so you can see, well, the news feed didn't come before 3.16, so that's kind of the earliest cutoff period we have for that. But you get a bit of a histogram there of what users are still on, and there's a non-insignificant chunk of people using quite old versions of QGIS still.
Right, I think I'll cut you off there. Thank you guys, it's amazing to have you both here.